It's only been a year and a half-ish, right? That is early. And I keep thinking about that imagery of like the 100 circuits of energy for a day, and like in early grief, 95 of those circuits are taken up with like what just happened, right? Trying to make the enormity of that reality fit into your brain. So that's still happening, right? It leaves a very short amount of bandwidth for other people's bullshit that in a normal time wouldn't even be a blip. But because there's so little resource available, it's like so much needs to get stuffed into that tiny little bit of available resourcing. Like, of course you're grumpy. Of course you're cranky. Of course you're not extending grace the way that you want to, right? So, and I heard you say that, like, usually I'm okay with this. Like, I understand why this is happening. One of the things that does happen over time, it is not that time heals all things. We know that that is garbage. One of the things that does happen over time is that the available bandwidth for other things gets bigger. So things aren't quite so sharp and pokey all the time. So it's like when you're really hungry and some small thing is like the worst thing ever in the entire world. But then if you've eaten well, the same exact thing will be like, yeah, that's annoying, but I'm gonna deal. It's that hangry thing for a while that will get different. It will get better as the sort of a shitty gift here, but like as the reality of your dad's death becomes comprehensible, as your literal neural pathways create a world in which this is fact, that sort of rumble strip of dissonance doesn't take up the lion's share of resources anymore, right? Which means that your fuse gets longer because it's better resourced. So in answer to, am I going to be like this forever? I doubt it. I doubt it, right? Because your resources will start to get allocated in different ways. It is true to say that for some people, I'm going to speak for myself here, I have a much shorter fuse than I ever used to, but there are shades in there. If I've had to spend an entire day doing tech stuff only to find out that they gave me the wrong information and then I wasted an entire 2 days of my life doing shit that I hate, I'm gonna be grumpy. Yeah. But if I have to do tech stuff and it's short and I am well fed and I have rested and I've had some play in my, like, if my bank is full, I'm not going to tear anybody's head off for getting some specs wrong. I am still going to snap because my fuse is shorter than it used to be pre-sudden death, pre-grief, all of that stuff. But for me, I feel like that is not justified, but I feel like my tolerance for wasting my time is never going to go back to pre-sudden death world because I don't live in that world anymore. I don't like people wasting my time. I don't like people, whatever, right? So I guess a very wordy, tangential way of saying you may find that there are certain circumstances that you will tolerate less for the rest of this life because of what this loss, what this death has taught you, has shifted in you, has reordered in you. It doesn't mean you're going to be a jerk about it, but you may possibly be less willing to extend grace to certain people who are behaving inappropriately. You might find yourself less tolerant. Doesn't mean you're going to be less skilled, but you may be less tolerant. I think you can use your awareness, your knowledge of yourself, and the discomfort with, I don't like who I'm being right now, to recognize, slow down, interrupt, make a choice, right? This is like relational repair. If I notice that I was just snippy with somebody who didn't deserve it, usually, even on an underslept, underfed day, I'm able to say, I'm sorry, that was actually really snippy of me. Let me start over, right? So you can do that. Two, slowing it down. I don't like who I'm being right now. I don't have the bandwidth to use better skills. So I'm going to take a time out and I'm going to go have a walk. I'm going to go eat some protein. I'm going to go take a nap, right? Noticing the conditions under which you are able to be the person you want to be and the conditions that make it impossible to be that person. So you will not always be this way, most likely. Most likely, some things about your bandwidth and your tolerance and your ability to be skilled and have grace, some of those things have, the context of those has probably changed. Even now, with fewer resources available to you, you can still notice, interrupt, slow down, care for yourself in different ways.